The controversial president of the Heritage Foundation and former Senator, Jim DeMint, may soon be out of a job, following a dispute with board members about the direction of far-right-leaning think tank, according to 3 people with knowledge of the situation. Some Heritage board members believe that DeMint has brought in too many Senate allies and made the think tank too bombastic and political, to the detriment of its research and scholarly aims. He has been a congressman and senator. They are solo performers. When you are in the Senate, life is all about the senators, said one board member, who asked for anonymity to speak candidly about DeMint's situation. CO skills are different than senator skills. I think it boils down to attributes. I don't think it is particularly personal. DeMint has been in contract negotiations, which are expected to be cut short, the sources said. An announcement about his future at Heritage is expected to come as early as Friday. His contract is up at the end of 2017, according to one board member. A GOP operative who works closely with Heritage said DeMint's removal as president was imminent, and that more changes were expected to follow. There's massive turmoil over there right now, the operative said. DeMint could not immediately be reached for comment. Reached by phone. The chairman of the Heritage Board, Thomas Saunders, said he was too busy at the moment to talk. Former Heritage President Ed Foylner is expected to take over as interim president, according to one House Freedom Caucus member. Foylner did not respond to requests for comment. Researchers and policy experts inside Heritage have not been clued into the possible leadership change, according to interviews with a handful of them, though there has been a sense inside the building that something is afoot. If Heritage pushes Jim DeMint out, it was because a few board members, who are close to the Republican establishment, never wanted him to be president, and have been working to push him out ever since, said one operative who has worked with Heritage. DeMint is one of the most respected and selfless conservative leaders in the country, and pushing him out would be a big mistake. In recent months, DeMint has raised the profile of the think tank by closely aligning it with Trump. Last July, DeMint met with Trump transition officials for several hours, and made it clear that Heritage policy experts would be at their disposal if Trump won. DeMint allowed the think tank's employees to join the Trump transition team while keeping their day jobs. Many did. And they fed policy ideas to an ideologically flexible, fledgling administration. A handful of Heritage policy wonks took White House jobs, including budget expert Paul Winfrey, now to at the Domestic Policy Council. Winfrey helped to write Trump's first budget proposal, which called for deep cuts that mirrored a former Heritage policy plan. One board member stressed that a number of Heritage officials, not just DeMint, have deep ties to the administration. DeMint has injected Heritage into a number of high-profile, high-stakes policy wars in the first 100 days of the Trump presidency. On tax reform, DeMint and his team came out against the so-called border adjustment tax, a key plank of the House GOP plan touted by Speaker Paul Ryan, RWIS. They have been relentless in critiquing the House health care legislation, blasting the Hill for not repealing Obamacare immediately. Sometimes, Capitol Hill staffers have said, to the detriment of negotiations. Jim brought everyone in from the Senate to Heritage, and made it hyper-political, said one board member. Heritage is also about civil society and culture. He's taken that off of the table. Yet none of this is particularly surprising to anyone familiar with DeMint's tenure on Capitol Hill, where he behaved in an equally aggressive fashion. DeMint, who served 3 terms in the House before his election to the Senate in 2004, approached his service with a single mission: to pull the Republican Party to the right. To that end, he encouraged a new generation of conservatives to launch primary challenges against incumbent lawmakers, an undertaking that, at the time, was virtually unheard of but would come to serve as a model for Tea Party groups in the Obama era. Through his Senate Conservatives Fund, DeMint funneled money to candidates including Utah's Mike Lee, Kentucky's Rand Paul, Florida's Marco Rubio, and Texas' Ted Cruz, all of whom defeated establishment-backed candidates or knocked off incumbents in their races. In many ways, he laid the groundwork for the internecine warfare now playing out within the Republican Party, often saying publicly he preferred losing while standing on principle than winning if it meant striking a compromise. "I'd rather have 30 Marco Rubios in the Senate than 60 Arlen Specters," he said in 2010. DeMint cut short his second term in the Senate, resigning in 2012 to take the reins at Heritage. DeMint clashed frequently with party leaders during his time in the Senate, especially now Majority Leader Mitch McConnell, RK. Their feud over spending earmarks was legendary. And after he left the Senate, DeMint turned Heritage Action, the nonprofit policy arm of the Heritage Foundation, into a vehicle to attack House and Senate leaders. Anna Palmer, Jake Sherman, and Andrew Restuccia contributed to this report.